Today was really exciting. We had probably the most exceptional poetry reading of all time. We took a poem of Sri Chinmoy's called Precious, and we translated it into 111 languages, and we had people reciting the languages all one after another. And the representative from the Guinness Book of Records was there, and they presented us with a certificate on the spot.
What I saw today demonstrated true character and commitment and resourcefulness. In recognition of the extraordinary efforts demonstrated today by the members of the Sri Chinmoy, it gives me great pleasure to announce that we've set a new Guinness World Records achievement for the poem recited in the most languages. So congratulations, Ashriта, and everybody else.
It was just such a feeling of teamwork and just oneness, like brothers and sisters, like all working towards a common goal. And I really felt that it sort of achieved Sri Chinmoy's vision of world harmony. People from all different countries, saying the same thing in a very soulful way.
Precious beyond measure is God's will. None can undo its power. Precious beyond measure are man's tears. They alone can hug God's hour. Precious beyond measure is man's love, unveiling his golden face. Precious beyond measure is God's gift, his all-fulfilling grace.
Ongelooflik skatbaar is die wil van God. Onasbaar sy kragtige welmtelsbaan.
Mani no haki watina deviyan barama. Samdegena dene ohuge karunav.
Preziosa fora de misura e l'orente de di. De gunje ne podus fa sua forza.
无限珍贵人的爱心，显示他的金莲。
Хмотлидер худонинг irodase. Hečki moning kudratine.
Nadmíru vzácný je dar od Boha. Jeho všetko naplňajúca milosť.
Buveza obuso bake, abufaz mayo. Obushle obaktile, isifo sikanin kulukulu. Umuso wake, owanele.
That's it! 111. This record with the poetry was the 100th record that I have currently.
It's holding the most records simultaneously, which is 100. So job very well done, Ashrita.
I actually was kind of more moved by the certificate for the record for the poetry, because that really represents all these friends contributing to a single record. The first record I ever did was for jumping jacks, and the record was 20,000 in a row, and I did 27,000. That was way back in 1979. Probably the most difficult record I ever did was for somersaulting, where we call it forward rolls, where you're rolling on the ground and it has to be continuous. The unofficial rule from Guinness is that you have to continuously roll, but you're allowed to throw up, which unfortunately I had to do several times. I had 4 slices of pizza the night before, but it was a really good experience because even though it was extremely hard, it sort of represents what Guinness means to me, because in the middle of doing this, you might say, silly thing, I had to overcome tremendous dizziness and nausea, and I had to really go deep within and get my inner strength that Sri Chinmoy says that we all have but rarely ever use. And so in the end, overcoming those obstacles made it a very strong spiritual experience for me. I do a lot of training. I mean, this record with the poetry was in a sense one of the unusual records in that I didn't really train for it, although I had to make a lot of phone calls and do a lot of work for organizing it. But yes, I usually train for at least 2 or 3 months, sometimes longer. I recently did a record for slicing apples in the air with a samurai sword, the most in a minute, and it took me a year to train for that one. I really believe in health and nutrition, and I've been a vegetarian for basically my entire life. Part of my teacher's path is being a vegetarian, and he believes in fitness, and so I manage a health food store, so obviously I'm into health foods, eating healthy foods, organic foods. I'm not so much into vitamins, I'm more into eating really good healthy foods. But in the end, truthfully, it all comes down to the inner part for me. You know, breaking records represents the inner. So it's important to have a healthy body, but if it comes down to it, I'd have to say that it's really the meditation, it's really the focus on my teacher's philosophy that gets me through the records. You know, truthfully, my biggest dream is to continue self-transcending for the rest of my life till the day I die. I mean, there's nothing that gives me more joy than to train for something, to try to focus within, to feel Sri Chinmoy's power within me, and then to break a record. That's the ultimate for me. I just would like to keep doing that until the last second that I die. The next record that I'm working on is for doing deep knee bends or squats, standing on a Swiss ball. It's a big rubber ball that they use in gymnasiums, and the record is for most deep knee bends in 1 hour. It's very, very difficult. I've been training for about 2 or 3 months for that, and so I'm hoping to do that maybe by the end of April. I've been participating in the Impossibility Challenger in Munich for the last few years. I really get a lot of inspiration. There's tremendous energy there. You feel like you want to do something, you really want to break a record. And truthfully, I haven't thought of what I can do, but I was just thinking today actually in the car, coming back from the poetry record, there's a record for doing the forward rolls, most in 1 hour, not for the longest distance. And that was quite difficult. And so I'm thinking I might do that in Munich. Truthfully, it's hard to say the happiest moment in a person's life. I remember several times Sri Chinmoy gave me a blessing after one of my records, and I have to say, after that somersault record we talked about, Sri Chinmoy called me up and he put a garland around me and he blessed me, and I have to say I was just in bliss, and that's probably one of the happiest moments of my life.